Hello, Internet. I just saw It Chapter 2. Gotta say, it's a movie that happened. I was trying to go through it systematically, trying to figure out why this movie just kind of feels like a rather unfortunate series of events, so we say. I think problem number one, it has just like zero narrative drive really throughout the whole thing. I mean, you could make an argument in the first act, which was all about, hey, let me call up all my friends from my past, tell them it's back, it's been 27 years. That part felt like they were going somewhere. And that part played like everybody had objectives and super objectives, motivations, all that good, compelling stuff. Even though there's just no narrative drive if everything's going to happen over and over and over and over again. Which again is kind of the point. Like it's a cyclical kind of story, very episodic. But you get the point pretty fast. I don't need to see, a bunch of different times. Oh, I'm going to get a call. Oh, I'm going to have an adverse effect. I'm going to wreck my car. I'm going to throw up. What have you. Because I know what's going to happen. Second systematic problem with this movie is they failed to make pretty much any suspense at almost any point in this movie. I think probably the most tense scenes are the one with the old lady and the one where Pennywise is talking to the kid. Because they actually have some stakes to it. All the other stuff, like, we know what's going to happen. We know they're going back to Derry. And when they get to Derry, they all just kind of are like, okay, we got to get our tokens. And we know, after at least the second time, maybe the first time if you read the book or had some sense of how these things work, that, okay, we're going to see something scary from our past. We're going to confront in the present. We're going to get this little token. And if you're just going to watch the same thing happen over and over again, there's going to be no narrative drive. And it's edited together just kind of as a montage. It felt kind of like a miniseries I was watching in one sitting. You could have had something interesting, some transitional effects, something, really nothing. Third systematic problem. The acting is some of the most flat I've seen from some of the best actors in the game. I mean, really the whole cast. I don't know if they were rushed. I don't know what was going on. They pretty much had no investment in what they were looking at. I don't think there was any point, especially when they were looking at CGI monsters, where I was like, oh, I see what you're seeing. And at some point, these actors had to have had some training where they were like imagining stuff, doing space object work. That's me doing the miming. They just were like looking at stuff, and I know they didn't care. And it's such a letdown because the first movie, these kids really seemed to believe that they were in danger, and they made the audience believe, and they played it straight. And the second movie, they made this choice somewhere along the way. The adults are just going to decide that actually it's all kind of in their head, and it just doesn't work on a lot of levels. Definitely from an acting standpoint. As if it's all in your head already before you get to the ending, then there's no real stakes, you don't care. There's nothing really. Yeah. So, problem 5, no super objective, really very little symbolic meaning. I mean, it's supposed to be an allegory tale, right? That's what I got from it, from the first movie, from the miniseries, from the book, is that even if you're not going to have the crazy metaphysics of the book, which is actually really cool, I would have liked to have seen the cosmic turtle and all that stuff. I get why they cut it, because they're afraid of any point of having it look silly, even though they're going to put 1,000 jokes in there. We can't have the premise look silly, even though that's kind of the point near the end. But yeah, they don't have any motivation. None of the characters do. They're just kind of like, okay, our friend asked us to get these tokens. And then they agreed to do it because I guess the story's got to happen. They want to leave, but they don't. They all do it. They do their 5 little scenes, which are dramatic scenes themselves, but they don't really tie together. The characters don't really learn anything from them. And then they just kind of come together. Which brings me to the final point. This ending just didn't work. I think it comes down to, well, Pennywise is a giant spider, and Pennywise is a little cute baby. Not a good call. I mean, I get it's in the book. They could have made that work. Like, I get why they didn't want to have to go too abstract with it. They're like, okay, the true form is just going to be a spider. Because spiders are scary. And if the characters really believed he was scary and then had to make that turn, and we could see the actors making that turn, that now Pennywise isn't scary to us, that's the only way we can feed him. It just kind of happens. They just kind of throw a spear and they're like, oh, it's not going to work. I guess he is abstract. Maybe. They don't say it. And then they all kind of come together in this really juvenile way, in a way that I don't know if they intended it to be as juvenile as it was. I got the sense that maybe they were trying to get some like reconciliation of their childish tendencies, and now all of a sudden those are useful. You know, you're an adult, but you have your childish things, all that sort of stuff. Maybe it was going for it. Didn't really work. They all just come together. They kind of roast him, school bully style. It gets small. Bill Skarsgård plays it well. He got this cute, I thought it was cute, this cute little kawaii-looking baby Pennywise. I guess that maybe was his true form. They pull his heart, they crush it. And then you're like, oh, we finally beat it. And they all just go for a swim and they kind of go back to their regular lives. So yeah, It Chapter 2. A movie that happened.